welcome back to the channel. Today I want to share with you 10 things that I learned from making my first short film, The Confession. You can see the image of it back there. If you want to check out my short film before you watch this, you can check it out. I'll leave a link over here. There. But yeah, so from making that short film, I learned a lot in the process, and after reflecting and getting some feedback, there's a few things that I want to share with you that I think can make your lives much easier going into the process of making your first short film. The first thing on the list, and probably the most important, is to keep it simple. I know it's exciting. I know you want to get a bunch of actors and film at multiple really cool locations, and you want to have like a super complex script. But I think this is what we're used to seeing on big budget Hollywood films and series. And honestly, that's just not the reality for most of us. So make your lives easier and just get one actor, one location. Don't do VFX, visual effects, unless if that's like your thing and you're really good at that and that's something that you want to improve, then that's a whole nother story. But for me, the most important thing was to minimize those variables. One actor, one location, and just have a simple genre. Focus on the story, focus on the character. And I think that's going to be the most important thing going forward. The second thing I learned from the process was to not rush it. My first short film, we got together and one of the producers wanted to use it for an application to film school, and it had to be done within a certain amount of time. So we really had to go super quick. Pre-production was really fast. Production also had to happen within within a week, and post-production was also a bit of a mess. So having that rush really put a lot of pressure on us. We weren't able to take that extra care with scripting and with pre-production. Putting more focus into those areas makes your life so much easier during production and post-production. Don't rush it, take your time. Don't give yourself a massive deadline. Just take it easy and you'll enjoy it and you'll learn so much from it. The third thing is to team up. Fortunately, I did team up on this one. I got together with a producer and another director, and we had a sound guy assistant, a location scouter person. But the main pre-production was where having a team really helped. There was myself and one other director, and we went back and forth a lot and we criticized each other's ideas in a constructive way, of course. But it was really helpful to me and to the project to have multiple people involved, especially in the pre-production, to help with coming up with the story and to plan everything properly. It also helps, obviously, when you're in production and you have a dedicated sound guy, a dedicated director, DP, director of photography or camera operator. And the fourth one would be an assistant, someone to help with carrying bags, to help with the sound guy, or to relay messages, it's just helpful. I would recommend having 4 people on set, not including actors, and maybe get an editor involved as well. Otherwise, edit it yourself. Tip number 4, and I learned this one the hard way, and that's to pay attention to your audio. Using your in-camera audio is just not a good idea. It sounds really tinny and terrible, and people probably won't watch more than 30 seconds of your film if they have to listen to terrible audio. For a lot of our project, I'm guilty, I used in-camera audio. We did have a sound guy or someone who was helping with sound, but they had the boom pole like miles away from the actors, so the audio wasn't good, and sometimes they didn't press record. So yes, get a sound guy, someone who is dedicated to taking care of sound, and then I guarantee your project will be so much better off because of it. I worked on a documentary recently with a dedicated sound guy, and it was a dream. It was just the 2 of us, super small crew, but honestly, yeah, that's all you need. Someone to do the camera and directing, and someone to do the audio, and then you're good. Another thing that I learned within this audio topic was to take room tone. Room tone is basically the ambience of the noise. Here, I'll give you a quick example. That's room tone. That is just the sound of the room and the street. Why this is useful is that while you're editing, you're going to be cutting up the audio and you're going to be like mixing between different sounds. If you have a room tone, you can much easier cut and fade things out. Or if something happens during the take, like there's a click or a noise in the background, it's much easier to take it out if you have room tone. For example, there you go. You didn't hear that because I put room tone over it. The fifth thing I learned was to put more time into planning. And I did touch on this a little bit earlier when it came to pre-production, but we really should plan everything a little bit longer. Take your time to make sure that everything is planned out. Make sure that your production is going to be efficient, that you're not wasting anybody's time. If this is your first short film, it's most likely you don't have a budget, so you can't pay actors for their time. So don't waste it. Ways you can do this is by creating a mood board. A mood board is kind of like a PowerPoint presentation. You can go through it and you can see different images, inspiration shots, color palettes, titles, even shot lists or sketches of the images that you want to create. This really helps to give everyone an overview of what you're trying to go for and what the look is. The next thing is to create a shot list. These are super helpful in terms of getting the shots that you want and understanding what they're going to look like before you even start recording. This is what it looks like. It's just got all the shots drawn out there. Nothing fancy, just images of what the shots should look like. I'll put some B-roll up of some close-ups of this with the next to the footage from the actual film, so you can see kind of what it looks like in my mind before we shot and how it helped to actually get the shot while we were filming. The sixth thing is budget. Unfortunately, if you're making a short film, it's nearly impossible to make it without spending some money. Whether you're feeding your crew or paying your crew, or you have to rent a location or rent gear, you're gonna have to pay for something. And if you're not, then that's great. If you're just working by yourself and some other people, it's a passion project, it's a group of friends or family, then sure, you can make it work. But if you're not, take extra account to your budget. Make sure that your actors have their transportation fee covered at least. You know, little things like that, pizza at the end of the filming day, it's gonna add up more than you expect. So just be aware of that and take that into account. Kind of related on that note is tip number 7, and that's to find experienced actors. Even pay for your actors. An experienced actor will carry your film and in most cases is more valuable than renting a camera or a lens. Working with what you've got and getting a good actor that can embody the character and help tell the story better, that's what's going to up the value of your short film. So find an experienced actor, pay for them, do a screening process or an audition process. Get someone who can really express themselves, show different emotions, and I'm not very good at it, but get someone who's going to be able to carry the emotion of your film, not only through what they say, but through their facial expression, and their body language. Tip number 8, and this is another one that I learned the hard way, and that's to take 2 good takes before you move on to the next shot. You might think that you go take after take after take, and you're not quite getting it, and then finally you get that perfect take that nails it, the timing's great, the emotion is great. But if you just leave it there, you never really know, especially with a small crew, you never really know if you actually got the shot, or that the continuity is gonna work, or maybe your sound guy didn't hit record, which was the case for us. And then you don't have a backup of that perfect take. You might think, oh, but I did 5, 8, 10 takes before that. Surely there will be something useful in there. There might be, but I wouldn't want to take that risk again, because I had that where we took 5, 6, 7, 8 takes, and we got to that one take and everyone was tired, and I was like, okay, fine, let's move on. And then when it got into editing, there was something wrong, can't remember what it was, but continuity error or the sound guy not recording. And yeah, that sucked, not having a backup of that perfect take. Kind of related to that last point is tip number 9, and that's to get extra angles and shots. Looking back on my experience with this film, I would have liked to have gone and, once everything was done, taken a few extra shots or different angles just to have something more to play with in post-production. Whether that's an extreme close-up on your actor, or a wide shot that gets both your actors or gets them in their environment, or getting a low angle shot or a high angle shot over the shoulder, just something different. Something that you maybe hadn't thought of before, but on set you thought, oh, maybe this angle would be nice. You don't have to do it, but for me, I would have liked to have had that extra room for creativity in editing. Tip number 10 is to get feedback. Once you've gone through the whole editing process and you've maybe done your first and second draft and you're happy with it, get feedback. Send it through to your mom and your family and your friends and your neighbors, and get people to watch it. And even better if you can watch it with them. I noticed that when I watch my films with somebody, I'm super critical of myself, and I notice things that I may have not noticed before, because you kind of see it through their eyes. And everyone has a different perspective, everyone sees different things that you wouldn't have thought of before. So try to get as many perspectives as possible. That is going to give your film more of a holisticness. It's going to round it off really nicely, and I think you'll be glad that you did. Now, the last tip I have for you, and you can call this a bonus tip, and that's just to get out there and make your film. Stop procrastinating, stop waiting, stop making excuses. I know you are, I did too. Just go out and do it. You will learn so much more from making your film than you can from any number of videos that you watch on YouTube, or that you learn from a course. You can learn a lot from these things, and they are helpful. I should know I learned a lot from watching YouTube videos like this, but I never learned as much as I did, except when I actually made the videos. And that for me is going to be my top tip of the day. If you don't remember anything else from this video, just remember these 2 things. Keep it simple and just do it. And that's all. Just go out, make your film. You're gonna rock it, you're gonna learn something, and you'll be so happy that you did. If you do make something and my video has inspired you, it would be super cool if you put a link to your video in the comments. I'd love to check it out and see what you guys are making. Awesome. Have a good one. Cheers.